Hello everyone. Welcome back to the another lecture on the design of machine element. We already started the subject with the first unit, that is introduction to the design. And in the previous lecture we discussed about the definition of the machine and machine design. We saw the classification of the machine design, and even we studied the different factors we have to consider while designing some product. Okay, so today we'll discuss the next part of the unit, that is introduction to the machine design. So let us get started. So this is the content which we are going to discuss in the today's class, that is stress strain diagram for the mild steel, concept of stress and strain, factor of safety, and factors which are going to affect the factor of safety. Okay. Now stress strain diagram for the mild steel. Now if you recall, this is we already studied in the third semester SOM subject, that is strength of material subject. Okay. So we are going to discuss briefly what are the salient points which comes in the stress strain diagram when you conduct a tensile test on the universal testing machine. Okay. Now this is what the stress strain diagram for the mild steel, where stress is plotted against the strain, stress along y-axis and strain along the x-axis. So in this we are going to study the some of the salient features of the stress strain diagram. Now first point in the stress strain diagram we call as the limit of the proportionality. From this point to this point is called as the limit of proportionality, which means in this region our stress is directly proportional to strain. Okay, they move in the proportion. That means whenever there is increase in stress, even strain is also going to increase. If this is decrease, then this will also decrease. That is what we mean the direct proportion. In this region stress is directly proportional to the strain. Next comes the elastic limit. Okay, now what exactly elastic limit is? It is nothing but the material does not enter into the plastic deformation upon the removing the load. What does that mean? I will take one material here. I'll just show here demonstration. Okay, I will apply this load. Okay, I will apply the load. Okay, and go on applying load. And what I'll do is, after some times I will remove this load. Then what will happen is, the material which is deformed or increase in length, it will come back to its original shape. Okay, without undergoing the any kind of deformation or permanent deformation. That is what we call as the elastic limit. It is nothing but the maximum amount of the force that material can handle without undergoing the permanent deformation. This is what the limit, elastic limit. Next comes the yield points, that is upper yield point. Now this is the, sorry, okay, this yield strength. Okay, in the yield strength there are two regions, that is upper yield point and the lower yield point. Okay, in this region the material undergoes the plastic deformation, or there is the formation of the neck in the material due to the plastic deformation. That is, suppose if you take the material like this, of course in the universal testing machine we apply the what, a tensile stress. Okay, so once the material enters into the yield zone, what will happen is this material will tend to take the shape of like this. Okay, means there is the sudden decrease in the cross sectional area in this region, and this region we call it as a neck region, and which comes under the yield, upper yield and the lower yield point. Next comes the ultimate strength. Ultimate strength is the maximum stress that material can handle. Okay, that means if you apply the force on the material beyond the ultimate limit, then material is going to fracture. It will be no longer able to take that load. That is what we call as the ultimate stress. What is that? It is the maximum load that material can handle. And what is fracture? When you increase the load above the ultimate strength, then the material is going to fracture, or he will fail all its properties. That is what the fracture means. Okay, I hope this diagram is clear to you. Fine. Okay, next we'll discuss a concept of stress and strain. And first concept is stress. Okay, to introduce that, I have taken one diagram here. Okay, there is one rod here. On the rod, I apply the forces on the both side. On the cross section area A0 is the cross section area of the material. Okay, so in normal language, if you want to define the stress, it is nothing but the internal resistance developed by the material when you apply the external load on the material. That is what we call as the stress. Stress is nothing but it's the internal resistance. Okay, now according to Newton's law, we know that every action has the equal and opposite reaction. That reaction will be developed by the material from the inside. That is what we call it as a stress. Okay, we'll discuss here. Okay. So when some external system of forces or load acts on the body, the internal forces which is equal and opposite. That is what I told according to the Newton's law. When I apply some external force, there will be a always a equal and opposite reaction to the applied force. Okay. The internal force per unit area. Okay. Now this is force and this is the area. So force per unit area is constitute the stress in the material. If you want to calculate stress in the material, you should know the what is force acting on the body as well as what is the cross section of that body. It is denoted by the letter sigma, and mathematically, as I told you, it is given by sigma equal to P by A, where P is the apply load and A is the area of the cross section. And in SI unit, it is measured in terms of Newton per meter square, or it is also called as the Pascal. Next comes the strain. Now strain is nothing but it is the increase or decrease in the length of the element. Okay, that is what we call as the strain. See what will happen when we apply the load. Now this is the one material I have taken here, that is circular in cross section. I applied the load on the both side, that is nothing but the tensile force. So once we apply the force, what will happen? The length of this material is going to change. So delta L I have given here is the change in length, and L naught, that is the original length. Okay, so delta L, that is change in length, divided by the original length, the constitute your strain in the material. Okay, fine. Let us see the definition. That is what I told. When a system of forces or load acts on the body, it undergoes some deformation. Deformation means either it's an increase in length or a decrease in length. This deformation per unit length is known as the strain. It is denoted by a Greek letter epsilon. Mathematically, if you want to know, that is delta L by L, where delta L is the change in length and L is the original length of the element. Fine. Can you tell me the what will be the unit of the strain? Can you guess the unit of the strain? I hope you guess it correctly. Okay, strain has no unit. It's a unitless quantity. How? Because delta L. What is delta L means? It is the length. What is the unit of length? Mm or meter. I will take mm divided by again L. L is what? Again it's the length. Unit is mm. Correct? Mm get cancelled. Will remain with the no unit. So strain is the dimensionless quantity and it has no unit. Next one is the factor of safety. Now factor of safety is defined as the ratio of the maximum stress to the working stress. Now remember that when you're designing any product, you have to compulsorily take into account the factor of safety. And this value of factor of safety will be ranges from application to the application. If you are using some component in the nuclear power plant, it has a very higher factor of safety, maybe 6 or 7. If you are constructing one bridge or a building, even their factor of safety will be higher. Correct? So when you design something, you have to choose the factor of safety based upon for what kind of the application you are designing that product. Okay, so it is basically defined as the maximum stress to the working stress. Now I have given the two types of factor of safety here. For the mild steel, we take it as yield point stress divided by working stress. And for brittle material, we take it as the ultimate stress divided by working stress. Can you guess why I have not written the yield point stress in case of the cast iron? If you guess it correctly, I hope you guessed it correctly. Because there is the no yield point in case of the cast iron. It's the brittle material. Fine. Now, factors affecting the factor of safety. The properties of the material and the possible change in the properties during the operation. Of course, it depends upon the properties of the material like the hardness, toughness, brittleness. It all affects the factor of safety. The type of apply load, whether it is gradual or impact, where you are applying this slowly or suddenly. Next, initial stresses set up during the manufacturing the component. Okay, do maybe due to the casting of the component or during the machining, some internal force stresses are already set up in the component. Again, it will affect the factor of safety. The extent of the localized stresses, mode of failure. This is all there are factors which are affects the factor of safety. Okay, so let us come to the end of the second presentation on the first chapter. So what we studied in the today's lecture, we saw the stress strain diagram for the mild steel. We studied regarding the factor of safety. We studied regarding the concept of stress and strain, and in the factor of safety we have written the formulas for the both the mild steel, that is ductile material, as well as the cast iron, which is the brittle material. I hope the concepts are clear to you. We'll come back tomorrow with the next unit. Stay tuned. Thank you.